What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Reel Fanatics. I am your host, Ferran, here again with my man Vito. And after a fairly decent absence, we're back.
Lengthy.
Fairly lengthy absence. We got through the holiday season now and the first few weeks of recovery time in January, as I like to call it. And now we are back with a couple of trailers to talk about, actually. But wanted to definitely prioritize the trailer that dropped today that I think is number one trending on YouTube, actually, last time I checked.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, so Daredevil, Born Again, we finally got a full-length trailer. I know Marvel initially released it was like a cut up of like a bunch of different the teasers is like a bunch of different shows they had coming out. But we finally got our first full-length trailer for it. It feels very similar in tone to what we got from the Netflix show.
The original.
A few references. The trailer opens with Matt and Kingpin talking about it's kind of good to see each other again, and they reference some time has passed. So looks like they're going to be bringing in a lot of the events from the Netflix show and just building upon it, as opposed to what it felt like they were doing before, which is just kind of rebooting the show. It feels like they're continuing it, at least in some aspect.
Like you said, we don't know a bunch yet. Obviously, it's still a lot we don't know because it's not here until March. So I foresee at least one more trailer, massive trailer like this one dropping. I don't know. I don't know what the date was in March, but I know it's March
March 4th.
Okay, so beginning of March. So shit, we almost there. Honestly, I don't. There's still a lot that we don't know that's gonna happen. We have seen that the one thing you did say that I loved it. It's not a reboot anymore. It's or I guess it would be a reboot. It's not a remake. It's a reboot. They're rebooting the series now, and they're continuing where they left off at. Now, they didn't do a time jump like Endgame did. So I kind of want to know where we're going to be at here. Because the events of Endgame that happened, we know they're tying everything in together now, and we know they're continuing that Netflix story. We've seen Foggy, we've seen Karen, we've seen the Punisher in there, we've seen Bullseye in there.
Briefly
in there. We seen him in Kingpin talking about time has passed. It has. We've seen both of these guys individually. We've seen Kingpin and Echo. And we seen Daredevil and She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And we know, and I don't know if you caught this part in one of the things they said, somebody asked Matt, I think it was Kingpin, he said, why did you stop?
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see when did he stop? Because last time we seen him, he was in fucking LA.
He was Daredevil.
fighting She-Hulk. You know, so when did this take place? And then as far as Kingpin, when did that happen? Because we know She-Hulk takes place after Endgame.
Yeah.
So is this going to be something that's before Endgame? Is that how they're gonna mesh it up? Because again, and that he gets that suit, that red and yellow suit at the end of it. I'm interested to see how they're going to do this because again, the Netflix shows before were a part of the canon, but they did not connect things. They wanted it to be as separate as possible. So if they wanted to build, they could. And then when Feige got all of it, it's been a lot of back and forth about what's canon to the main MCU, what's not. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was not, but there were things that connected to the MCU. None of these Netflix shows were canon. But again, they made reference to a lot of things that occurred in the MCU, and I think now they're saying everything is canon. So all that stuff that we seen before was going to be a part of it. But I am going to tell you, man, it was two parts in the trailer that I was excited about. The one was Punisher coming back,
absolutely, because
I think John Bernthal or Bernthal, I forget.
Bernthal.
I'm about to say I fuck up his name every time. I seen him in some things before, but I was like, nah, Punisher, whatever. I don't see it. But that was fucking perfect casting. I had the same feel for him being Punisher like everybody else did with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. I didn't know who the fuck Robert Downey Jr. was. So when they said he was Iron Man, I was like, okay, I'll watch the movie and see. But now and then I look back, I found out all about his past. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, that makes sense. John Bernthal, I just didn't see it. And then I think I seen him in The Accountant with Ben Affleck, and I was like, okay, he really didn't have much of a role in that movie, but I was like, I'll watch it. And, he, just from his season and fucking Daredevil season 2, money. Now Punisher didn't end well. I didn't like that final season. It was kind of ass. But the second thing I am excited about is the introduction of the White Tiger.
Can you dive a little bit more into that for those of us who aren't as familiar with that
I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't know a whole lot about him.
Everything I know about the White Tiger is from the second White Tiger, or it might be the third White Tiger. How comics is.
Yeah, it's multiple iterations of the same character.
And this was one from one of the Spider-Man shows that was on like Disney XD or something, and it was Spider-Man and Friends. It was Spider-Man. Okay. It was Power Man, which is Luke Cage. Yep. It was who's the Karate Kid? Iron Fist.
I said Shang-Chi.
Iron Fist. Yes. And then it was Nova on there sometime, Kid Nova. I don't know I forget which one they called him. But then it was the White Tiger, and I think in the show it was her uncle was the first mantle of the White Tiger. But essentially, the White Tiger is kind of like he was kind of like the Black Panther, but I want to say it was like Brazil or something. And again, I could be wrong. It's been a lot that it's been a long time since I've seen it. Mm-hmm. And again, he's not one of those characters that's obviously he's not in the main roster, all the time. He's a street level hero. So in the same realm as the Defenders, and I think he's going to fit well. I was watching another mashup from somebody on TikTok. It's a guy that really knows comics, and he was talking about the whole trailer and his own. And I guess there's somebody named Mute or something like that who's going to be one of the villains. So because Kingpin is not the main villain. But
it didn't. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The trailer kind of gave off that Kingpin was an important character, but not going to be the main villain. But they weren't really like King. Like obviously, like the White Tiger character kept showing up, but
yeah. You was able to see him. The other guy, you seen the mask, and you like. Yeah. But with Daredevil, it's hard because he always he's always fighting crime. So it's not a Captain America's not fucking going out beating up fucking street level guys,
criminals. So
when he's fighting somebody, you like, okay, that's this person who's named, or he's beating up terrorists, But with Daredevil and all these guys, they're fighting every night, every day in the streets. So it's always somebody in a mask, and we just so happen to not know all their names. And if you're not a comic book aficionado, then you won't know them. Like I said, I read comics, but I would never say that I know a lot about comics. And like I said, my only reference that I have to the White Tiger is from that Spider-Man cartoon. But I do want to make clear, this is not what's his name? This is not Bucky. People were thinking this was Bucky. They were thinking I think what do they call him? The White Wolf. They were thinking this was the White Wolf. This is not him.
That's hilarious.
I seen the trailer. I seen a meme somebody made, and it was basically a Black Panther costume but painted white. And I'm like, that's not true. Yeah. So again, there are some things that if you like the Netflix shows, then you'll see the trailer and you're gonna come back and watch this. You're going to.
Yeah. It definitely.
I'm excited, dude.
Yeah, I am. I'm very excited for this. Like watching this trailer, literally everything I could have hoped for from this show, tone wise, in terms of bringing back the characters from the original show, the feel of like that dark, serious tone that kind of made the Netflix shows feel very grounded. And then just like the absurd levels of violence, like everything you wanted out of everything you liked and loved out of the Netflix shows, it feels like they're encapsulating and bringing into this. And it feels like Marvel really understands the property they have and what made it great in the first place and looking to continue it, which to me, I don't know if people really remember the full story of this Daredevil Netflix show, but there were some, periods of like turmoil a little bit because it went through a lot of reshoots. There was a period of time where like they fired all the showrunners. Like this show did not the production of this show did not get off to a great start.
This shit was supposed to been come out.
Yeah, like they announced it. They announced it. They started working on it. They initially announced it was supposed to be like 18 episodes or something like that. And then at some point through production, I can't remember at what stage, but they fired the showrunners, brought in new writers, brought in new showrunners, and because initially they said this is going to be a reboot, and the only returning actors are going to be Daredevil, are going to be Matt Murdock, Kingpin, and John Bernthal as Punisher, and that's it. And then they said it's going to be a complete reboot, though. And
it was going to be a new show, new stories, everything.
Just with those actors, yeah. Everything's going to be different. It's just these actors are reprising their role, but it's going to be a different story. And then after a while, after they fired the showrunners and made all those script changes and reshoots, then that's when you started to see like, oh, well, this set photos of the dude that played Froggy on set. This dude, the girl that played, I'm forgetting her name. Karen Page, she's on set. And then you start to see like, oh, no, the reason they fired the showrunners and brought in those new writers, did those reshoots, like they actually at some point decided to reverse course. I guess they weren't liking the direction that the original script was going in and decided, you know what, we have a formula on how to make a good Daredevil show. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel here? Let's just take what we already know works and try to implement that now into the MCU.
So
I think that's
I'm still under idea. I'm hoping that it was us. Okay, I'm hoping it was the fans. Yeah. Everybody was saying the same thing. They're like, I want a Daredevil. I will take that. Everybody was saying, I'll take that, but this is what I want. Yeah. People's whole thing was like the Daredevil. All 3 seasons was fire. All right. The third season was a little slow. But all 3 seasons were fucking bangers. Okay?
Yes, still great.
And it ended on a good note.
Yeah.
And I forgot we also seen Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh yeah, No Way Home. He did have a scene in that too. Right. You're right.
So I like to think it was us, but also like I think all the little placements of Matt Murdock because what's his real name? Charlie something.
Don't give me the lion.
All right. But anyway, I'm just calling the nigga Matt Murdock. All right. So a lot seeing him in so many places, I think that kind of that gave. I think that lit the fire. Charlie Cox. Yeah. Because I think when people seen him in She-Hulk, I think that just at that point it had already been announced. What do you say? Like 21, 22, it got announced, and then. Ooh. I want to say it was a little bit right after.
It was announced some years ago for sure.
Yeah, but
I definitely know we were supposed to get it before 2025.
So whenever She-Hulk came out, I think that might have been one of the highest watched episodes of She-Hulk.
Oh yeah,
whether you like She-Hulk or don't like it or how you felt about it, that episode did numbers, and it was because fucking Daredevil was in it.
I think She-Hulk came out in 2022. Now that I'm thinking back on it, it came out in 2022, and honestly, like. I agree with you. Like to me, the thing that showed the power of what that Netflix Daredevil show did is watching She-Hulk. I realized about 3 22. to 4 episodes into She-Hulk that I was going to hate this show. And the only reason I kept watching was because I knew Daredevil was coming up at some point and I wanted to see how they were going to introduce it.
Damn, you hated it?
I don't like that show.
So, y'all already know how we do. I'm going to go on one of my little tangents and veer off for a minute.
We can go on a quick She-Hulk tangent. That's fine. We can go on a quick She-Hulk tangent. I personally don't like that show. And
a lot of people didn't like it.
Here's why, though.
A lot of reasons. Go ahead. And then I'll tell you my thoughts.
I appreciate that show for what it is, right? Marvel is, at this point, a brand. It is a film brand. It is transcended comic books and has become a brand in the film industry. In doing
Don't tell me you hated Meg twerking.
You had to. I didn't hate Meg twerking. Okay. I did think it had no place in that show.
It was off. Yeah, it was off.
Yeah, it had no place in that show. But I'm a heterosexual man. I'm not gonna ever hate Megan Thee Stallion shaking her ass. Like, what are we talking about? So I feel like, in a sense, with Marvel being what it is now and it trying to appeal to as many people as possible, I understand why a show like She-Hulk was necessary. You want to appeal to women as much as possible. I'm with it. I'm all for it. I'm not the target audience for that show, so I'm now going to watch that show through that lens. And the to me, the problem with She-Hulk became deeper than just I'm not the target audience for this show after a certain point. It felt like a show that didn't understand the direction it wanted to go in. It just felt every episode just felt like it was just doing shit.
And I'm gonna speak on that part too.
It was just doing shit. Like and I think She-Hulk started off good. Like I liked the first 2 episodes. I thought the first 2 episodes were very strong. And then the direction that was set up in the first 2 episodes, it just veered off from. Yeah. And then I think the part that like threw me, the part that I just like, I'm done with this show. For those of you who don't know what the Intelligentsia is in the comics, the Intelligentsia is a team of supervillains. It's supposed to be like the smartest supervillains in Marvel Comics. And I think the leader, who's supposed to be the villain in Captain America 4, is supposed to be like one of the head people, right? She-Hulk took the Intelligentsia and made it a bunch of incels on their mother's basements on a chat board that hate women. Keep in mind, the incels are supposed to be the greatest minds of supervillains that Marvel Comics has to offer. And She-Hulk took them and made them a bunch of incels. Okay? Boom.
Let's not blame She-Hulk. Let's blame the writers, okay?
I'm not... okay, fine. I'll blame the writers.
I get what you... No, I get... I'm just fucking with you. I'm just
but like, I feel like that there was a good show in there somewhere, and they fumbled it. And they fumbled it very early on and never recovered from it. And that's the problem I have with She-Hulk. But like, that's been the problem with all of Marvel's shows that haven't worked out, though. Moon Knight, first 2 episodes, great.
Yo, the first couple, I want to say,
them first 2 episodes of Moon Knight, I was like, oh, this shit about to be fire. And then the rest of that show is terrible. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what's another example? Secret Invasion. First 2 episodes, I was like, oh, I'm intrigued.
Secret Invasion, dude.
The rest of that show is terrible.
Again, I watch all of them, and I'm not saying this about you or anybody in particular, but what it is a lot of people are grading. We're all doing it. We're grading Marvel on a curve.
We are.
All right.
So, I'm doing it. I'll admit. I grade Marvel on a curve.
Daredevil was the worst Netflix show was fucking Iron Fist. All right.
Yeah.
And again, I already told you I've been rewatching those. Mm-hmm. So I watched season 1 of Iron Fist, and like I say, it's really not that bad. I think it's really him as an actor, it's him as an actor, not just any white guy. It's him as an actor.
He's not a good Danny Rand.
He did not give off Danny Rand.
Yeah,
there was a lot of stupid things that happened.
Yeah.
We're grading on that curve. We got fucking Daredevil 1, 2, and 3. We had Jessica Jones season 1. I can't remember if it was 3 seasons or 2 seasons of Jessica Jones. I think it was
for sure 2. It's for sure 2. I can't remember if there's a third.
It is 3 because the third season, her mom is a villain. So the first 2 seasons of Jessica Jones.
I don't remember this. I remember the first season with dude.
The first season she's working with I'm mixing my shit up because I just got done watching The Defenders, and I think she was the first. It focused on her like the first 2 episodes. Yeah. But I do have a list because I've been watching it in order.
Oh, wow. Okay. They organized. I love it.
It is 3 seasons of Jessica Jones.
It is? Okay.
So, Daredevil, all 3 seasons of Daredevil was fire. And then I'm getting back to She-Hulk.
Yes.
Season 1 of fucking Punisher was fire. Season 2 wasn't that great, but it was okay. No,
it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Like, again, season 2 of Punisher, I felt like it started well, and then it just kind of it was lackluster, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Season 1 of Iron Fist, it was slow as shit, and that threw a lot of people off. Bad. A lot of people didn't want to watch it. Season 2 was shit. All right, I haven't even got back to season 2 yet. It was shit. No,
season 2 of Iron Fist is one of the worst seasons of television I've ever watched. I will stand on that.
And I can't do anything but agree.
I will stand on that.
Then we got seasons 1 and 2 of Luke Cage. Again, actually, shit. Is it 3 Luke Cage? One.
I think it's only.
It's just 2 Luke Cage.
I think it's only 2 of Luke Cage.
A lot of people didn't like season 2 of Luke Cage again because how they smashed everything up. and they had him kind of being
Yeah.
a crime boss, not a crime boss, but he was the
Yeah.
boss
Yeah.
of that his neighborhood for a few episodes, which people didn't
Yeah.
like. And again, we're grading all these new shows on a curve. So
Yeah.
She-Hulk came out. I felt like for the most part they were very, very, very on brand with She-Hulk. She-Hulk, everything, you know, she did the same thing She-Hulk does. You know, she breaks that fourth wall like Wade does.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you 100%. Those first few episodes was fire.
Really
and
great.
then it kind of, again, even the villains, you know, the main villains,
I'm not gonna lie, all the villains in that show sucked.
They were bad.
Every last one of them.
You know,
every villain in that show was terrible.
They started the main villains. You didn't even start hearing about them for a nice little minute.
Yeah,
you know, it took too long to introduce them. And then I think and I'll agree with you. Her Meg twerking with Meg was kind of out of place.
It just didn't fit. It just didn't fit.
And again, we know Meg was there because she's a fucking nerd. All right. You know, I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but she's a fucking nerd. She watches anime, fucking all these comic book shit. She's a fucking weed. All right.
Yeah.
So, so you know, it's cool. You know, I love that because like you said, they're bringing another audience in. You know, it's a lot of motherfuckers that don't give a shit about Marvel, but they love Meg Thee Stallion. They gonna watch that shit because they want to see Meg Thee Stallion.
Yeah, like I'm with it.
She-Hulk ended terribly. I think at the end, it was literally like a robot that writes the script of the show.
Yeah,
and they had it as his name was Kevin.
That ending was so bad. The ending was so bad.
And then it kind of stopped everything, and then it just put it back in its place.
And then, like, there was just no resolution.
Yeah,
keep in mind, this is supposed to be like the last episode.
This is the
climax.
There was the train going up.
Yeah.
It stopped before it got to the top, and then we're done.
Like, literally, that's how the ending of She-Hulk was. Literally.
And another thing with that is we don't know what the fuck is going on with Bruce Banner. you know.
Yeah, he did just up Sun out of nowhere.
And we know why they upped the Sun. He was off world to do this, and this, and it felt cheap. All right, and that's what DC was doing. They were just introducing fucking people with no good way of doing it. Yeah. Now, the initial of She-Hulk coming in was great, but then it kind of just died down. Now, I'm done off my rant. I went way longer than I meant to do. The second trailer. The second trailer we talk about was
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah,
which is.
I'm not gonna lie. That actually, I think that when I first heard that they were doing that show, I was like, why? We're already oversaturated with Marvel content. Yeah, we're already oversaturated with just Marvel content, period.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, we're oversaturated with Spider-Man probably the most. There's a whole other studio making Spider-Man films outside of the MCU.
Outside of Spider-Man.
So, and outside of Spider-Man. Like, we have an animated Spider-Man like movie franchise going on right now. And Spider-Man villain movies getting made.
And again, while I was talking about DC, this is what DC did. Again, they have right now, you know, we got at least 3 Batmans. We got Robert Pattinson Batman, we got the animated Batman, and we got the potentially, because I don't know if you've seen an interview with Matt Reeves, he was saying like it's possible, but they're giving him room to work within his 3 Batman films. Mm-hmm. But he said, you know, it could. I don't know though. So again, it's hope that I hope it is. Farhan said, you know, he doesn't want it to be. We've had talks back and forth about it, but
I don't mind it, but like I just don't think it's gonna work.
But there's a potentially 3rd Batman out there in the current DCU, okay? And this is what now Marvel's doing that. Now, I've seen things that say, you know, this is entirely new Spider-Man, which again, Disney has had Spider-Man properties before, cartoon animated shows. But this Spider-Man is really like he feels like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, how he's starting out, or it's supposed to be the beginning days of Spider-Man, and it feels like that.
Yeah.
But in the trailer, we see a few people that, you know, don't belong, and it's not in the same world from No Way Home. You know, we seen
Norman
fucking
Osborn.
the OG Norman Osborn with fucking waves. They
With
made
waves.
they
Hey,
made
bro. I was like, what? That threw me off because I saw the character. I'm like, oh, who that? And then I saw Oscorp. I'm like, that nigga got waves? Hold on. What's going on?
I seen Harry first. And that's
okay, yeah.
I seen Harry first, and I didn't know that's who that was supposed to be.
I didn't think that was Harry either.
And people love to talk about Batman and how Batman break faces and break arms and legs. We watched Spider-Man throw a brick
in somebody's
yank
head.
it back into somebody's head.
Throw somebody into a ladder.
If you're not dead, you got a concussion. You're gonna be
for
out
sure.
For a minute.
Brain damage. Absolutely.
They had to put. And again, Spider-Man is way stronger than Batman. Okay, I just want to clear that up. And we'll talk later about how people vilifying Batman for some shit. All right, but yeah, he fucking cracked that brick on that boy's head. And again, I think it was a boy because he's supposed to be in high school and he was fighting some bullies or some shit.
Yeah. Actually, I think they had that's another thing. This Gen Z Spider-Man thing they got going on where the kids was live streaming, we about to go beat this dude ass. I'm like, what's going on? This is a different vibe for sure. I could definitely see this is being aimed at children, which is fine. Once again, Marvel has to cover all their bases. One thing about this I do appreciate though is it kind of gives me a similar feel to I don't know why this is the first thing I thought of when I watched the trailer. I don't know how many people might be old enough to remember the game Ultimate Spider-Man, where you got to play as Spider-Man and Venom, but the entire game was done in comic book format. When you hit people, the comic book exclamations would come out, and the cutscenes were comic book pages. Though. Yeah, that was kind of the style of this show. Kind of reminded me of that, which I appreciated. I don't comic book style storytelling.
That style of it. I don't know why. It's just for me. Yeah, visually, it doesn't look good to me.
I can appreciate that. And it does. It's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah, again, we already know how I am with these things. I'm going to watch it, but it just doesn't look good to me. Now, as I'm watching it, that may change. I might just get used to it, but I don't like that art style. I say that comic book art style. Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
It feels kind of cringy seeing it on the screen a little bit. It takes some getting used to.
And I think the fact that it's a series is what does it to me too. A movie, I can sit down, watch an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes of a animated film that looks that's in a comic book style. But when it's in a series, I have to keep coming back to it. So I have to force myself to come back to it. So, but again, we didn't get a big trailer on that. I forgot to look up the release date. Do you remember?
I'm not sure exactly when it's released. It's actually pretty soon. I want to say it's releasing in January. It's releasing very soon. I remember seeing that. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Let's see. January 29th.
29th. Yeah.
Yeah, January 29th. So it's coming pretty soon.
Damn, that was what, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, very soon. Guess who's voicing Norman Osborn?
It's
Coleman Domingo.
Yeah. I did see that. You know what? I like Coleman Domingo, and
I can't wait for this show.
I think they just said he's supposed to play somebody. He plays. I want to say he plays Batman in an audiobook or something like that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So
shout out Coleman Domingo, man.
Yeah, he's been in his bag lately. He just had that Netflix show. I didn't watch it. But a reason I do like Coleman Domingo, one, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
He's a dark skinned brother. Yeah. He's fucking American. All right. He ain't British.
Excuse my xenophobic co-host.
Because when after Aaron Pierre, after I found out that my man's was British, after watching that movie,
you suddenly didn't like Rebel Ridge anymore.
Was it Rebel Ridge? I'm like, all right, man, I'm going. Yeah, they got the nigga playing Mufasa. Come on, they got the nigga playing Mufasa. Did you see Mufasa yet?
I have not seen it. But I have seen the memes of that Brothers song. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm gonna need you to watch it because
I might watch it just off that.
Mufasa was light skinned propaganda. All right. I'm not as mad at Scar as I used to be when I was a kid. You know, he killed my nigga Mufasa. But it's
light skin propaganda. Okay.
Again, how do you go from wow, I just blanked out on this nigga's name.
Find it. Huh?
He voiced Darth Vader. Oh my god, he just died.
I'm not giving you this answer. You better find it your damn self.
I'm not gonna find it. Wow, I'm blanking like you gotta give it to me. Give me the name.
J. Starts with a J.
James Earl Jones?
Yes.
Okay, shit. You know, how do you go from James Earl Jones, this darker brown skin, American brother, deep voice, to fucking Aaron Pierre, this light skinned, pretty British nigga?
I mean, how you going? First of all, pause. Second of all, how are you going to follow in the footsteps of James Earl Jones in any capacity? Like, that's impossible.
You're right. It's hard.
That's actually impossible.
That is tough. But all right, you know. Also, when I found out, I was a little mad when I found out he was playing Mufasa too. So I got a problem with the British actors. I'm sorry, you know. That
specifically the black ones. I don't specifically.
No, because it's so many American, it's so many black American actors
who don't get opportunity. That is
don't get that opportunity. Then they bring some fucking British motherfucker in there, Stringer Bell.
All right, now Idris Elba is in a category by himself.
Again, these people were good. I love Franklin Saint. I love what's the Damson
and Idris.
The shit, like
you can't say their performances are bad.
No, they were amazing.
Yeah.
But again, it's so many actors that that grew up in that. That it is what it is. Like I said, Damson Idris, he killed that fucking role. I didn't know Idris Elba was fucking British till I was a fucking adult. The Wire had been out.
I didn't know Damson Idris was an adult, or wasn't an adult. Was British for the longest.
Nigga,
for the longest. My first time hearing him speak, I was so shook.
I didn't start watching Snowfall till beginning of season 7. So I started watching season 1.
Too. Yeah.
When that came, I started watching season 1 right before season 7 started.
Same.
And I got to when the episode aired.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it the next day. I had already caught up. So I seen him in season 6. I found out he was British. And I already don't like to watch, shows with us doing crime and putting us as the bad guy, villain, criminal, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it. And then I found out the nigga was British. I really didn't want to watch it. But the memes, the memes and shit that I was seeing, the videos that I was seeing, I'm like, yo, I gotta check this shit out.
Just because you don't like the way another nigga.
and again, the nigga was good. He
phenomenal.
Well.
Phenomenal.
I can't think of anybody else on that show that could have played Franklin Saint.
He acted circles around a lot of his co-stars.
He really did. I really wanted, because I wanted to say, I would have loved to see Leon in that role.
Leon did have one scene. Like,
what's the Man Boy?
No.
Listen, I'm just saying because I want to see a black
Franklin?
An American. Yeah, but like I said, I don't even think Leon. Nobody could have played him. No, I don't think anyone on the show could. No,
not like that. Leon did have some great scenes. There was actually a scene with Leon, like, if you remember, and we're so off topic, but there was a scene. It's the scene where he visits Franklin in prison, and Franklin's like fucked up. He got jumped. I think it was the same. Remember, old dude that he had made kill his friend, ran into him in prison, and they fucked him up. So like Leon, like seeing his friend like that in that state, and like he semi crashed out. Like telling Franklin, like, you better defend yourself. Don't let these people in here play with you. Like the emotion Leon showed in that scene and the scene right after he realized that he had killed Scully's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Those two scenes, I think, are the best acting scenes of Leon in the whole show.
I think Leon had a lot of good ones. And especially when you see him, I don't know his actor's name, but when you see him in other shit, when you see him in other things, you're like, oh, shit. But I do believe that he's from Cali.
That makes sense. You could tell, honestly.
He might be from LA or the Bay. I don't know which one he's from, but he's from Cali. Yeah. So, you already get the feel. He has the feel of it.
Yeah.
But also, he has a few scenes where you like, okay, shit. But like I said, that he played Franklin fucking well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very well. Very well.
I'm sorry, man. You know, I just.
But now that you are done hating on British black actors getting opportunities
done,
in Hollywood,
I ain't done, but I'll let it go for right now.
But your brief hiatus from hating on British black actors in Hollywood, I will say shout out to Coleman Domingo for being the first black Norman Osborn.
You know,
that's
crazy?
Not a character I was expecting us to flip to our side, but now that we have, I do appreciate it.
We should have known because in the 90s, the nigga had waves. They had to make the nigga a nigga.
They had to make him black. They had to make Norman Osborn black at some point. He had waves. They had to make him black at some point.
Dog ass waves. And then
man, I never had waves that good in my entire life. In my entire life.
I did.
Yeah, well, you know, some of us weren't as blessed up here as others. So, you know, we had to work with what we had. Yeah, so some of us had to work what we had, you know what I'm saying? Shit. But I will say, at first, like I said, I was not very high on this show getting made just because I felt like we were getting way too much from Marvel, and Spider-Man is already getting too much content, period. But I'm willing to give it a shot now, A, because Norman Osborn is black and has waves, and B, because X-Men 97 showed me the potential of what Marvel animation can do when they're just given leeway to say, hey, go make something great. So after that, I am willing to sit back and at least give, like, you know, benefit of the doubt to anything they put out now moving forward after seeing X-Men 97.
Thing that I don't think we've talked about since it's happened.
What happened?
They have officially shut down those Spider-Man villain movies.
I don't think we've addressed that either, no. So here's the thing with that report, though, because I actually saw multiple reports on that. I saw the same report you did, that it came out before Kraven was even released. Mm-hmm. It came out before Kraven was released, and they said they're shutting down the Sony-verse villain films. And then I saw another report that said that report was false. But from a business sense, though, it makes sense for them to shut it down. That's why I believe the first report. Because say what you will about Sony and their decision-making with making films, these are still executives at the highest level of the film industry. These people aren't dumb. They might not be great at making villain films, but they're not dumb. They understand that they are losing money on all of these films they made. The only Sony Spider-Man villain movie that turned a profit was Venom, hence why there's 3 of them. That's the only one that turned a profit. The other ones, Morbius, Madam Web, Kraven, they have all lost an insane amount of money. No, like an insane amount of money. Like, people probably should have lost their jobs off of the amount of money those 3 films collectively lost that film studio. So there's just no way it's bad business strategy to keep making those. Like, forget everything else. Film studios could give a damn about being creative and making good art. That's what the directors and the actors are worried about. And again, film studios are worried about how much money they're making, and they're losing money on these movies.
Making these movies is so they didn't lose the licensing for Spider-Man.
Exactly.
That's the only reason they were making these movies. You know, they're doing Spider-Man in conjunction with these Marvel movies, but they're not, you know, they're making a profit from that, but they're not making much of a profit because they're still sharing it with Marvel.
They're sharing it with another studio,
So that's why, you know, those Sony villains was coming out, and because they don't want to lose that Spider-Man licensing. They realize how much money. I mean, beforehand, when they was dropping Tobey Maguire, I don't even think that was Sony, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
They've always owned the film rights to Spider-Man because Marvel, long story short, Marvel Comics sold their film rights to certain studios. Everybody. Yeah, like to everybody. Hence why X-Men is owned by one studio and Hulk was owned by Universal, and like that's why the rights were so spread out.
Which was probably one of the best Hulks. I love the fucking Ed Norton Bruce Banner Hulk. I loved it, and they didn't bring him over because the director and him had issues. Anyway, I'm going off track again. Anyway, you know that's why Sony is doing what they're doing with those villain films, but they are doing it terribly. You have to. You can't keep again. We seen it with the first Suicide Squad movie. The second one was a little better, but you can't keep introducing. Why do we care about these villains We don't know the hero, especially the villains did they put fucking Madam Web.
Who gives a shit?
The only reason we found out about Madam Web was fucking Spider-Man. Like he said, who gives a shit?
Like who cares?
Even in the comic book world,
Morbius, who cares?
Not dying to watch fucking Madam Web. If a motherfucker bring out a 8-part series on Madam Web, that shit is not gonna do numbers like that. It's gonna have to tie into a big event.
And you know what's crazy? There was they had a Black Cat and Silver Sable movie in production. That would have been an infinitely better film to make than Madam Web.
Together or
together. It was going to be both of them as the protagonist.
And again, that would be fire. Again, I would still be like, why? But
I would be more excited for that than Madam Web. I'd be 10 times more excited for that.
A lot of people don't know Silver Sable, but motherfuckers know Black Cat.
But like, if you know Silver Sable, you know that like, oh, okay, so like, if you put this film in the hands of somebody who knows how to do fight choreography, this could be some shit. But like Madam Web is like, what do you do? What do you do with that character to make her interesting to a wide audience?
I would be nervous
without
to watch Black Cat for the simple fact that we've had this before. It was called Catwoman. It was called Catwoman, and we see how they fucked that up. You know, but I don't think we'd have that same issue, but. I mean, like I said, they have been making bad decisions with the properties, and
the film quality of the Sony Spider-Man villain films have been on the same level as Catwoman, though. So you know what I'm saying?
The Venom movies,
except Venom.
And again, like, we're not saying they weren't great movies. They were good movies. They were fun to watch.
They're fine. Enjoyable, they're fun to watch.
But nobody's like, I'm gonna go watch Venom over this. No, I'm gonna go see this, and I'll catch Venom later.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that I think Sony could benefit from in this instance is focusing on just getting the Spider-Verse films together, because you have
fire.
Like you have something that's working. Put your time and energy into that, because your villain idea of introducing all these villains and then making a Sinister Six movie is not happening. It's just not happening. So let it go.
Yeah, you didn't even have the real Sinister Six.
You didn't even have the real Sinister Six because you was gonna pair Morbius, Madam Web, and Craven together. Like how was what was that gonna look like?
Don't forget Vulture.
Oh, and I'm sorry, and you took Vulture from the MCU and tried to bring him into your universe.
Everybody that they have was in the Marvel Spider-Man movies. Vulture, fucking what's the Mysterio.
What's crazy is like that's literally what No Way Home. No Way Home literally took. This is so hilarious. Sony has been planning a Sinister Six movie since the Amazing Spider-Man was released. That's how long they've been trying to do the Sinister Six.
I remember that last scene with fucking what was
if
that?
You remember
Rhino.
Yeah, if you remember Amazing Spider-Man 2, there's a scene in that movie. I think it might have been a post-credit scene where somebody was there. There was like a meeting between. I think it was like Harry Osborn and like the mysterious like fedora dude that kept popping up, but you never found out who he was. Every time he was like going to meet with Harry, and he walked by like Doc Ock's tentacles. He walked by the Rhino suit. Like it was very clear. I think he walked by like the symbiote. Like it was very clear that we were trying to give you all the Sinister Six. So and Spider-Man 2, the main Spider-Man 2 was released in 2014. We're over 10 years removed. Yes. We're over 10 years, I think 2013 or 2014, one of the two. We're over 10 years removed now. And in one film, the MCU successfully did a Sinister Six movie. Well, when Sony's been trying to do it for over 10 years.
No, let's not, because that one was still Sony. So I think Sony was the main force behind that one.
No.
But
the MCU has the creative rights to Spider-Man. Sony has the distribution rights, meaning you guys go make the movie, you write the script, y'all direct all of that. We get the distribution rights, so we are the ones that put it out. But creatively, anything you've seen from Spider-Man in the MCU was all Marvel and Disney. Sony did not have. Sony can say all Sony can do is veto. They can say, "Oh no, you can't do that," or "No, you're not putting that." But they don't have creative control over what is going to be in the film. That's all Marvel. So I'm not giving Sony credit for that because they didn't have creative control over it. I can't give him credit for that one. So
you're right, 2014. Listen, man. At the end of the day, man, they fucking up. They've been fucking up.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wanted Spider-Man 3, the Amazing Spider-Man 3. He didn't get that. Then we got Tom Holland. I wasn't sure about Tom Holland at all, but then seeing him as Spider-Man, I'm like, shit, the nigga works.
Yeah.
He works as Spider-Man. He works as Peter Parker. Now, he might not work as this specific Peter Parker, but the Peter Parker that he is, he works. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see the motherfucker now in the Spider-Man 4 when it comes out. And I would still love to see the Amazing Spider-Man 3, but
I think the most we're getting out of Andrew Garfield at this point is either that or an appearance in Secret Wars. Yeah,
I don't foresee him coming back to play Spider-Man in a full time in a movie.
It's going to be in a similar situation to what you saw him in No Way Home, but I don't think we're him or Toby. I don't think we're getting full-fledged films for.
Toby is hilarious though, because I feel like man, you know what? I ain't gonna even touch on that, bro, because you know what? I'm ranting again, and we not even talking about what we supposed to be talking about no more. We finished talking about the fucking trailers and
while ago. Been done with them. But to get us back on track, because somebody, in the words of K-Dot, somebody got to do it. Let us know what y'all think about both of these trailers, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and Daredevil Born Again, which I as of right now is still the #1 trending thing on YouTube. Rightfully so, because we've been waiting for more Daredevil content for a long time.
Which one are you more excited to see?
I'm more excited for Daredevil by far. We've been waiting for that for way too long, and I still stand on Daredevil Season 2 is the best season of superhero television that has ever been made.
And listen,
and I stand on that.
I cannot disagree with you there anywhere. Like I said, when the first season came out, I said, hey, this is the best. And the second season came out, I said, you know what? Never mind. And that second season, especially with the that prison fight, and I'm gonna just stop because
the prison fight scene, the hand running up the hospital, the scene of the hand running up the hospital and just murking everybody in there. Like, bro, there's so many great scenes in Daredevil Season 2. So yeah, Daredevil Born Again for me by far. I'm assuming probably the same for you as your most anticipated. 100%. So you guys let us know what you guys are most looking forward to between these two trailers. I feel like we're gonna get a unanimous answer here, but I'm gonna pose the question regardless. Always continue to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support we get. And until next time, this is the Reel Fanatics. Peace.